Hi everyone. Welcome to the first installment of What the Feminism. I hope you all had a great week and I hope that you guys are perfectly healthy and perfectly safe. I am so excited for this episode because in this episode I'll be discussing the four waves of feminism and how the Indian feminist movements differed from the Western feminist movements. So, without any further ado, let's get started. You may have heard names like Alamte Ghosh, Jane Austen, and Sappho of Greece. These people are the pioneers of some of the earlier women's movements, and time and again they had proved the undeniable potential of the female sex. However, there wasn't any distinguished feminist movement back then. It was in the late 19th century to the early 20th century that the first feminist wave began, and this was with the start of liberal politics and industrialization. In the West, the movement was focused on suffrage and political participation. Some of the notable names here would be Emmeline Pankhurst and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Unlike Europe and the United States, something totally different was going on in India. The first wave of feminism was actually initiated by men. Yes, it was initiated by men, along many women, to uproot the social evils of sati, to allow widow remarriage, to forbid child marriage, to ensure property rights, and so much more. Plus, you know their names: Rajaram Mohan Roy, Pandita Ramabai, Kamini Roy, and so many others participated in these movements for the welfare of women in society. The second wave of feminism started in the 1960s. It was very theoretical and gave light to radical movements and minority groups around the world. Whereas the first phase had white, cisgender women, the second phase drew in women of color in many developing countries. But things were slightly different in India. Feminist agendas and movements became less active right after India's 1947 independence, as the nationalist agendas on nation building took precedence over feminist issues. Women in India did not have to struggle for political rights as women in the West because women were already granted voting and civic rights as soon as India got independence. However, just because something is written on paper doesn't mean it's actually practiced. India's patriarchal cultures were at par with the newly acquired concepts of fundamental rights and democracy. Although the second wave was much more intersectional and even went to the grassroots level, exercising a woman's right was much more difficult than it seemed. The third wave of feminism, or should I call it the right girl feminism, began in the 1990s. It surrounded identity, gender, and reproductive rights, and redefined what feminine beauty meant to women. Sexual orientation, ethnicity, and class were celebrated as dynamic, and intersectionality grew more than ever. Empowered young feminists swarmed the scene in makeup, heels, and low cut tops, and were the epitome of what people popularly call lipstick feminism. Again, regardless of what happened out in the world, third wave feminism went differently in India. Post independence feminist movements challenged the inequalities in workforce and fought to reverse them. Feminists also became class conscious in the 1970s. India had, and still has, so many power structures such as caste, religion, and tribe that it became quite difficult to counter them. The early 21st century movements also fought for women to make decisions about their own lives. Although it is said that the third wave of feminism never had an official end, 2012 marked the beginning of the fourth wave. Its focus was on sexual harassment, body shaming, and rape culture, among other issues. Tarana Burke's Me Too movement is the perfect example for this. A key component was the use of the internet to highlight and address these concerns. In fact, social media has been a big help in India's fight for feminism. It's a huge platform where people from so many places get to share their stories and experiences. From launching public rallies to starting pride parades, social media has helped a lot in spreading the word. And I think it has even helped in opening walls that we, as a more conservative patriarchal society, were scared to. All in all, I just want to let this out. Everyone has different problems, and this difference doesn't make anybody's issues less valid. Feminism is an umbrella under which millions of people are working for a better tomorrow. It has come a long way, and it has a long, long way to go. With this note, I'd like to end this episode here. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I'm so sorry if my audio quality is not that good. But I have no setup, nothing. In fact, I'm literally recording this in my laptop. But, anyways, it would be lovely if you could leave me a review. And if you want to suggest something, my socials are always open. Stay safe. Bye.